All right, I wanted to make a video about what's called the rule of three. I've talked about a lot in my writing and videos about general physical preparedness training, or it's called GPP. It's basically building a base of fitness and fundamentals and just overall basic fundamental training. Um, and it's what we do with new people, new athletes, is where everybody begins when they first start their training. Now, everybody begins here, but we also try to keep that GPP levels high as we become more advanced too. So as our training becomes more specific, we still train GPP. We don't totally forget about it. It's just not all that we do. So the rule of three is basically says that athletes should have 3 years of general physical preparedness training before they pick a sport, before they become more specific and do sports specific type of training. So for when athletes come in here, what we do is our general physical preparedness is based off of we do a lot of abs, a lot of sled work, we do basic jumping, we do a lot of rowing and back, maybe back extensions and just we're a lot of carries. We're developing overall athleticism, overall general fitness, overall strength. So we're learning the fundamentals. We might goblet squat kettlebells or deadlift kettlebells, just all that type of ropes, battle ropes. We're developing some endurance. We're developing fundamentals. We're developing fitness level. So we're just trying to work all those things to build a base that we could. Basically, we're trying to build the base so we can build a pyramid on top of it, if that makes sense. Now, the rule of three says you need to have 3 years of that. And that came more from the Russians and the Eastern Europeans, where they would start their Olympic athletes at a very young age training. And then what they would do is they would then push them to different sports in different ways based on their based on the physiology and what they were naturally good at. So in America, we screw this up because what we do is we play sports year round from a young age, and then we think about training as an afterthought. So it becomes basically like sports first, train second. In other countries where they've had a lot of success, what they do is they do training first, sports second, basically. Does that make sense? So, I'm not saying you have to pick one, do sports first or sports second. I don't think that is necessarily true, but what I feel is we start the training process too late. So if you wait to start the training process 15, 16, 17, think about these other countries, they're starting the training process at 4. Basically, they're saying we're going to do GPP training from 4 to 7, then pick a sport. Maybe 7 you start, anywhere in it. Maybe even if you start GPP training at 7, and then 7, 8, 9, and 10 you pick a sport. All right, that makes a lot of sense too. But the problem is we start our GPP or our physical training at 15, 14, 16. By the time you do your GPP training, 3 years, you're out of high school already. So that's basically how we screwed up. We screwed up because we start that physical training way too late. And I see it with a lot of the athletes. The kids that have years of training underneath their belts that get in here when they're young, they're so much more advanced by the time that they're in high school. It's not even funny because you skip basically the whole process. When kids come here in high school, we're cramming a 3-year process essentially down into 3 months, a year maybe, because we want them to get into the more advanced training, and they're already specializing in a sport, so it's very difficult. That's all I really want to say is we screwed up because we start them too late. We need to think about starting them younger. I don't necessarily think that they need to be in a gym for this at 10 years old. We'll train 10-year-olds, but I don't think that, we're not going to train a 7-year-old, but we'll train 10-year-olds. But at 7 years old, they should be doing a lot of physical activity outside, maybe yard work chores, maybe just you get a tire and you have them drag it in the driveway. You have them do planks, push-ups. They could do a lot of stuff at home. But that's just my 2 thoughts on the rule of three and how we start in America our physical training way too late.